Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF, has been many things in All Elite Wrestling. The greatest heel, the greatest face, and its longest reigning champion.
There's my sister and me, and that's me and my great uncle Moxie. And here's me with one of my faves, CM Punk, as a kid, and that's me with Edge and Randy Orton, because you know I'm a fan, just like you, and that's me with Buff. Buff is the stuff. He let me wear his hat. Pretty big deal. I'm just like you, man. I do the stuff. The moment I realized that I wanted to be a pro wrestler was when we were at Madison Square Garden. It was the first ever Elimination Chamber. And in the main event, Shawn Michaels was an absolute crimson mask. And he hits his pose, and I look to my left, I look to my right, and everyone's standing up and clapping, and I go, I could do that. I could totally do that. And that was the moment. And look, I can totally do it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it really good. I'm pretty much making my rounds coast to coast, across the border, across the pond, working for pretty much damn near every single top promotion in the world.
Where'd you grow up? New York or New Jersey?
I grew up in New York. I don't come from Jersey. You know, I'm not like...
I didn't mean to insult
Don't
you.
offend me. Don't offend me.
They call Jersey the Garden State, is it not?
Sure. I think something went wrong when they were planning where to put the Garden. I think they said they were going to put it in New York. Somebody messed up. Couple inches too far to the left. I don't know. Big mistake. Smelly place. When I was younger, all the way up till now, I knew exactly who I wanted to be in this business. I knew exactly how I wanted to talk, how I wanted to look, how I wanted to present myself. So that did come first. Secondary, I never knew how I wanted to present and structure what I did in front of a crowd. That part was all Creative Pro. That's all them, and I fell in love with people picking apart body parts. I love that. Just slowing it down, because quite frankly, I don't care what these losers listening to this podcast think. You know, if I can slow a match down, get my air, I'm here to make money. I'm not here to make friends. I like that. I like watching Regal. I liked watching Fit Finlay. I liked watching, we talked about it earlier, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. I liked watching Tully. I liked watching Ric Flair. Those are the guys whose style I try to emulate. And that came secondary. And once I was able to put all that together, now you people, honestly, you don't deserve it, but now you people get the finished product. That is Maxwell Jacob Friedman. One of the people I really watch a lot of tape on is Chris Candido. To me, that was a guy who was able to speed up at the right moments and to slow down at the right moments. And he would do some cool stuff, man. Dude did a powerbomb off the top rope, pescados, suicide dives, pile drivers. He did incredibly innovative stuff, but he rated for the right moment. He knew when to speed it up and he knew when to slow it down. To me, Piper was a guy who did almost nothing and had a crowd at the edge of their seat the whole entire time, because you never knew what he was going to do next. He had those wild eyes and he drew you in, man. Whether you liked him, whether you loved him, whether you hated him, he drew you in. So a lot of Piper, a lot of Rick Rude. God. I mean, just Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert, I mentioned before. I watched a lot of his stuff. I would say those are the main ones. And then obviously I'm influenced by my own trainers. I mean, if you want to look up Platinum Pat Buck in OVW, the Hitmaker, he did a lot of great heel stuff, man. Like a lot of great character stuff. Hawkins, obviously, great character stuff. But I've always, since day one, I was drawn in by the guys that didn't necessarily care what the people thought, the guys that had one mission, and it was to be the best. One of my favorite promos I've ever watched was Jake the Snake's being interviewed, and they put the mic up to his mouth, and he's moving his mouth, and you can't hear a goddamn word. And you're like turning up the volume on your computer, your TV, however you're watching it. You're sitting at the edge of your bed, your couch, wherever you're at, and you're like, God damn it, what is this guy saying? I want to know. And then he goes, see that? I don't have to say anything to get your attention. And I lost my shit. That was the coolest thing ever. It was so cool. Just the idea, even the creativity, and to be able to draw you in just by being himself, just by being present in the moment was absolutely insane. I want to be remembered as the guy that everyone would go home after they went to a show, or they'd be in bed after watching me on TV, and they'd lay their head on the pillow and all they think to themselves is, God damn it, I hate that piece of shit. That's all I want. I don't want anything more than that. I don't want anything less than that. I want to be remembered as just someone who was goddamn really good at making people mad. Real mad. You want to know why? Because I love making people mad. It is my favorite pastime. And also back to the guys who like really took the time and mentored me, like Hawkins, Pat, Sammy Callahan. He took a lot of time with me. I just want to be able to take all these dudes who invested time and effort into me and give it back tenfold just by being the goddamn best. I always loved old school wrestling because, and I'm sure you've realized this, in 2017, it's unfortunately because of the gifts has become a lot about the moves as opposed to the storytelling, people being lively characters. Lucky for you guys, I'm not a character. I'm not portraying anyone. I'm just being me. But there are people out there that, they have to put their best face on and, wear like shiny, glimmering gear just so they feel important. I don't have to do that, but still, it is nice to have characters in professional wrestling, and that's why I love old school wrestling so much.
MJF would get his first big break from none other than Cody Rhodes, who would offer him the opportunity to wrestle in the opening match for the first all-in pay-per-view event that would lead to the creation of All Elite Wrestling, where MJF would be one of the first upcoming talents that would be signed there in 2019.
I had one discussion, and it was with Cody Rhodes. Mm-hmm. And I had walked up to him. This was before the match. I said, is there anything you would like from me specifically? And he said, I brought you here for a reason. And that was the conversation. He said, just stick to the amount of time that is allotted. If you go over the time, I don't care, I'll have the ref ring the, you know what I mean?
Right.
But that was a speech that was given to anybody.
Right.
And after the match was over, I walk up to Cody. I go, did you see it? He stopped me again. He goes, brought you here for a reason. So I was like, okay. And it's crazy that somebody like him and somebody like the Bucks were willing to give me that opportunity. Uh-huh. And B, had that trust in me, considering I've only been doing this for 3 years, which is telling, but it's also telling of their character.
Right. And
them as human beings. That opportunity meant a lot to me, but that opportunity was earned. And I think that a lot of people might struggle with that, but I was like killing I have literally wrestled nearly every single top tier independent promotion in the world. US now, UK, Canada, I've been all over the place. But like the most goosebumps I ever had, because the second my music hit, my match wasn't announced, the second my music hit, and the second they showed the Burberry Tron with MJF on it, they rained down boos.
Right.
Rained them down. They knew damn well who I was. And then Cody, after the show, on JR's podcast, which also meant a lot to me, because he has been a mentor to me. On the podcast, he said, if there was one person that impressed me the most, it was MJF. And that meant the world to me.
Is there anyone on the AEW roster that's even up to par with your talent?
Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes, hands down, my mentor, my best friend, the roller coaster, Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, King of the Crossroads. Yeah, I mean, the guy is a god amongst men. If you're not aware of that, congrats, you live under a rock. Maybe move out of your grandmother's basement. He's amazing. I don't know if there's anything that he can't do. And there's a lot of people out there, I get these tweets all the time, Chris, where people go, why are you sucking up so much to Cody? I resent that. I'm not sucking up to him. Sucking up to somebody means that you don't have a genuine relationship with somebody. Cody Rhodes is like a father to me.
MJF's first storyline would be with Cody Rhodes, who he would get close to, and ultimately betray by not only throwing in the towel during a championship match, which is a stipulation that would prevent Cody from ever challenging for the AEW World Championship again, but then to add insult to injury, he would kick Cody in the balls, a move that would become a trope of MJF in the coming years. It was after this that MJF would employ Wardlow as his personal bodyguard, and MJF would go on to win the Dynamite Diamond Ring, and he would retain this prize every year after. This ring would often play into the finish of an MJF match and would ultimately be his unofficial finishing move. In 2020, Cody would come looking for revenge on MJF for his betrayal, but MJF would only agree to a match with Cody at Revolution if 3 conditions were met. Number 1, Cody could not touch MJF until the match happened. 2, Cody would face Wardlow in a steel cage match before the match at Revolution. And 3, Cody would agree to receive 10 lashes from MJF on live TV. Cody would endure the trials, but lose the match at Revolution because Cody is a loser. MJF would continue to show his dominance by going on to beat Jack Perry at Double or Nothing with the roll-up, because at that time, Jack Perry was mid.
I've been telling people on this channel to subscribe, and they won't.
Yes?
What can we do about that? Can you help me out? Maybe if you tell them to subscribe, they'll do it.
Threaten them. I'll threaten them for you.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah. You don't have to do it till you're cursed.
And I got so excited, I was foaming out the mouth when Tony Khan called me and he set up the match. And he said, it's going to be you versus Jungle Boy. Here's the winner's purse. It's going to be at the pay-per-view. I said, say no more. It's time for me to prove a point. And that's precisely what I did. I gave Jungle Boy the best match he'll ever have in his career, and I gave the fans a match that will go down as one of the greatest matches in the history of AEW. And people are going to look back at that match 5, 10, 15 years from now, and it's going to be the equivalent to, gosh, I'm trying to, an early Jericho versus Dean Malenko match, or an early Ray versus Eddie match. That's how people are going to be looking at it.
With Jon Moxley at the helm, we haven't been seeing a whole lot of wrestling. We've been seeing a lot of car crashes, a lot of flipping, a lot of flopping, a lot of flying. And that's all because they see Jon Moxley with that world title and they go, well, if he got that world title, I guess I should try to copy him, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what they've been doing. They've been basically murdering themselves and murdering their bodies for super high risk with very little reward. What I want to do is bring pro wrestling back, because pro wrestling is a sport, and that's where it's at its best, is when it's treated like such and when you wrestle as such. So I want to make AEW all about wrestling again, which it should be, because it's not AEW gymnastics, it's AEW wrestling.
MJF would have his first singles loss against Jon Moxley, who was the AEW World Champion at the time of that year's All Out. Adding insult to injury, MJF would then enter into a partnership with Jericho. But at least we got Lee Dinner Debonair from it.
Let's face the facts here. I was an all-state tenor too for a reason. I was the captain of the Acafellas, the all-male acapella group, for a reason. Chris Jericho is one of the greatest rock, singers for a reason. And both wildly talented. Nobody in all of professional wrestling could have pulled off the segment that we pulled off. There's a reason that it's the most talked about segment in the history of professional wrestling, and I am very proud of it. And I personally feel that right now I would be the AEW World Champion if I had a group of people who would be willing to speak up for me on my behalf. And that's when it became very clear to me that I needed to be a part of a group. And what better group to be a part of than the best group, the best faction, the best stable, in not just AEW, but in all professional wrestling, being the Inner Circle. Also, me and Chris were pretty much best friends, so it just makes sense. Me and Chris, I believe we have a genuine bond. I believe that it's more than we're going to have to need a leader if I do join the group. I think if anything, we understand that we are the 2 biggest stars in all pro wrestling. Nobody can keep our names out of our mouth. After every single segment, there's about a week's worth until the next segment where people are only talking about us. Fact. And I think we both are fully aware that together we can accomplish an insane amount. So I feel that there's not going to need to be some sort of weird power struggle. I don't think there's going to be some weird uprising. I just think we're going to work together. That's what I think.
Everybody keeps on saying that I have some sort of agenda being in the inner circle. People seem to think that maybe I want to take over the inner circle. And that's absolutely preposterous. Me and Chris are friends. We both recognize that we were two of the most charismatic professional wrestlers in the sport today, and we thought to ourselves, if we got together, we could create magic, money, and gold.
Yeah, but you beat him to get in the inner circle. He didn't even want you in the inner circle.
But of course I beat Chris Jericho. I'm one of the best wrestlers in the world, and Chris shouldn't feel bad about losing to me. But the bottom line is we got together, and the reason why I joined this group in the first place was because of that Dictator John. When Dictator John cheated, it made me realize that I need backup if I want to become the AEW World Champion. And right now, me and Chris Jericho are about to win AEW World Tag Team Championships this Sunday. Perhaps.
You gotta beat the Young Bucks, one of the best tag teams in the world. That's what they told me. When AEW gave me permission to do interviews.
Put your head back down.
All the way?
Put all the way down.
On the desk or just?
You know what? Yeah, like an ostrich. Put your head on the desk.
Like, remember when the teacher would come in?
Put your head on the desk! This has been an interview, I guess, with Barstool Sports. You're welcome. I will never do this again. Are you kidding me? Is your head actually up right now? God, cut the feed.
So for me personally, I am not a character. I am not portraying anyone. This is me 24/7. I have an issue with guys in my generation looking and appearing and acting a certain way on their TV set, and then they go on the Twitter machine and they're like, gee willikers, thanks for watching my match tonight. I love you guys. Kiss, kiss, hug, hug. After they literally just had like a stabbing, on TV, or they beat up somebody's grandmother, and then they're taking to Twitter and talking about how much they love this business and they love the fans. It makes me sick to my stomach, dude. And so for me personally, I'm never going to be the guy that sucks up to the audience. I'm never going to look for likes or retweets. I'm just going to be me 24/7. And I think that's what makes the best stars in professional wrestling. I hate to give CM Punk credit because somebody asked him who he thought were great up-and-coming stars in AEW. And one of the answers was Pillman. And at no point did he say my name. But I am going to give him credit because I'm salt of the earth and let's face it, I'm just a great person. I think CM Punk, when he was on the independents, did a great job of never wavering on who he was as an individual when he was around fans. I believe Ric Flair and the Horsemen all did an incredible job when they were around fans of never wavering, never being like, oh, thank you so much for watching the product. We're stars. Why am I going to go out of my way to make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside when you're lucky to be breathing the same air as me? And that's the way I approach life day in and day out. But no, everybody wants to talk about how great it is that Sammy Guevara quit the inner circle. Wow. Yay, rah, rah, Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara hit me for no reason. He claimed I wanted to take over the inner circle with zero proof. And then he claimed that I was recording him with zero proof. And now because of his actions, everybody thinks that I do want to take over the inner circle. Guys, I cannot make this more clear. 6 months ago, on AEW Dynamite, I told the world that I understood why I didn't win the AEW World title against Dictator John. It's because I did not have backup. I have backup now. Why do I need to be the leader? That's just so ridiculous. Only a true sociopath would not leave good enough alone. And I'm not that guy. I am not that guy.
MJF revealed his true intentions by betraying Jericho and the Inner Circle, forming his own faction called the Pinnacle. FTR, Shawn Spears, Wardlow, and MJF as their leader. The feud of factions reached a climax with Blood and Guts match, which is AEW's version of the War Games match. The Pinnacle emerged victorious in this brutal encounter, where MJF, after winning the match for his team, decided to throw Jericho off the steel cage just like Undertaker did to Mankind. This just proves how fucking vicious MJF is, and that image of MJF standing on top of a steel cage looking down at the former AEW World Champion.
However, they would go on to lose a rematch at Double or Nothing in a Stadium Stampede match. MJF will lose to Jericho, and that was more or less the end of the group, as MJF would move on to what would become one of his most memorable feuds.
After I beat CM Punk twice in Chicago, and then we had a dog collar match after what people were calling one of the greatest feuds in the history of professional wrestling. And after that barbaric dog collar match, I had the man completely beat, and then your guys' friend Wardlow decided to give CM Punk my Dynamite Diamond ring to punch me out. So I've had a couple of setbacks, but to be completely honest with you, I think once I've finished Wardlow, and once I no longer have to deal with Wardlow, there is nobody else in my way of becoming the AEW World Champion, and I will have a reign of terror that will make Triple H and Jeff Jarrett seem like they had short, simple title reigns.
I didn't come into this company with any friends. I wasn't a friend hire, as a lot of people in my company are. I came in a man on an island, and essentially all I was given was opportunity, and I smashed it out of the park. Every time you see me on screen, I don't hit singles, I don't hit doubles, hell, I don't even hit home runs, I only hit grand slams. I'm the king of swing, it's what I do. And when I was told that PG Punk was coming into my company, I was none too pleased. Everybody was talking like this is some god in wrestling that is making a big return. And it didn't sit well with me because there's only one god in wrestling right now, and his name's Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
I put my hand out as a sign of respect. And what did he do? He snubbed me. He left the ring. He snubbed me. I put my hand. How many times have you seen MJF put his hand out to shake somebody's hand? That was it. In the history of my career. That was it. Mean it.
Right.
Never.
Yeah.
That was a first. It was a first. I had no ill will towards the man. Now I'm hot. Now you've messed up. Because what you don't seem to understand is I'm the better version of you, CM Punk. I am the smarter version. And to top it off, I'm the younger version, right? At 25, CM Punk was incredible. One of the best in the world. But he wasn't at my level at 25. And he knows that. He knows that deep down. I think he's fully aware he messed up. And now he's saying he wants to fight? Screw that, man. I am the only guy who's gotten CM Punk to feel like the CM Punk of old ever since his return. When we were in that ring talking back and forth, we created magic. He should be thanking me. Instead, he wants to fight me? No, you want to fight me? Prove that you deserve a match against MJF. Beat some real competition. Beat some of the people I've beaten. Beat the Cody Rhodes. Beat the Chris Jerichos of the world. Beat the Hangman Adam Pages of the world. And then we'll talk. I sat down every single Monday and every single Friday, and I watched CM Punk at his best. At his best, when he was the best in the world. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that didn't rub off on me a little bit. But what I will say is this. I took everything about CM Punk that made him great, and I made it even better. And I'm doing it in my own way. Just like I did the same stuff with Roddy Piper. Take a little sprinkle of that. Little Buddy Landell, right? Little Don Morocco, right? Little Jesse the Body Ventura. Put it in a pot, make a gumbo. You get a little bit of MJF. But I put my own spice, my own flair of things. And I think that's why when I come through that curtain, I'm one of the last of a dying breed. And so is Punk. I'll give him that. Because we're not faking anything. We're this all the time. This is us. This isn't a gimmick. This isn't shtick. I'm MJF. He's CM Punk 24/7. It's just that MJF happens to be better than CM Punk 24/7, and he knows it.
CM Punk beat you.
Yeah.
And I'm doing that. That is for you. He beat you.
I appreciate that.
And now he's moving on and he's wrestling for the world title before you wrestle for the world title. Does this bother you? Does this chap your ass?
I think there's a lot of stuff going on in this company that is inaccurate. I think that all these fucking ex-WWE guys that are making an absurd amount of money, when quite frankly, they can't sniff my fucking jock when it comes to the ratings I pull in whenever I'm on screen. I think they can all go to hell. And I think that somebody in the upper management has a problem with me, and it's very obvious if you see what I'm dealing with week to week.
there was an autograph signing that I was supposed to go to, and I felt, why am I making the company money when the company should be paying me money?
Right.
So Daddy bounced. I did not go to the autograph signing, and I just stayed in my hotel room. They did a wellness check on me. They thought I might have died or something.
Okay.
They were going to kick my hotel room door in. I was not there. I was informed about this later on. Then it came time for the pay-per-view. People were worried I was going to no-show the pay-per-view. I showed up to the pay-per-view as last minute as humanly possible because I wanted to make a point. I wrestled the match against Wardlow, who's a scumbag. Wardlow got lucky. He won the match. I think everybody that watched the match knows Wardlow got lucky. It was a very cheap victory.
It was Mickey Mouse.
Yep. Mickey Mouse bullshit.
Absolutely.
Kangaroo court.
Yeah.
And after that, I sat down with my boss. My boss was like, how do we make this right? What if I just let you, I'll let you get, a dig on me. You know what I mean? And I'm like, okay.
Me and CM Punk had the greatest feud in the history of the company.
Agreed.
And I do honestly think it will go down as one of the greatest feuds of all time. Look, I go out there, all I do is win. I'm winning in the ring, I'm winning on the mic, I'm constantly winning. So obviously I had no problem with how I was being showcased. That wasn't the issue. The issue was money. I was looking to my left and my right, and I was hearing rumblings about what guys were making when I was 2 times, 3 times the draw they were minute by minute. Again, I've seen the analytics. And I went, that doesn't work for me. When I went home, I made it very clear to Tony Khan. I said, pay up or Daddy doesn't show up. Fact. So I took my now beautiful fiance with me to Greece for 2 weeks. We went to Mykonos, Santorini, Athens, and then on the last 3 days of the trip, we went to Venice in Italy.
Okay, beautiful.
I then went home, and I stayed home. I did not leave my home because I did not one single solitary wrestling fan to see me out in the wild. Do you know why?
No.
Because they don't deserve to see me unless I'm getting paid to be seen. And that's why the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he doesn't exist, which is exactly what I did for 3 straight months. I take what I do very seriously. If you want to see a star, pay to see that star. So I stayed in my home. I went to a gym inside of my home. I did not leave my home. The only time I left that home was for those 2 weeks because I was committed to making sure that if any wrestling fan wanted to get a taste of MJF, MJF needed to get that money. If I stay, you will know that I think the word I would use is grotesque. I was paid a grotesque amount of money because what's going to happen is there's going to be an ugly battle. And again, it could be any company. I will literally go to any company except New Japan. I'll go to any company if they're willing to pay up the most dough. Fact.
Do you have a number in mind? You don't have to share the number, but
yeah.
You have a number.
Oh yeah. Now, by the way, I'm already, right now, present day, making an absurd amount of money to the point where I could retire probably early 30s.
Okay.
But I want to make, and not that I have any interest in doing that, but I want to make enough money where it's not just generational wealth, what's bigger than generational? I want to make enough money so that my great-great-great-grandkids, when it's time to leave Earth because of all the pollution that's gone on, and there's a rocket ship that can only take a certain amount of the hyper-elite to Mars, where they have created a civilization because they've terraformed Mars. Good job, Tesla. I want them to be able to be like, oh, we're first class on this rocket. Mm-hmm. That's what I want.
Here's my take on professional wrestling. People are fake. Wrestling's real. And the realest person in professional wrestling is MJF. And that's a fact. There was nothing about that situation that was manufactured. I came into LA. I was very upset with my boss over money. My boss said, you know what? Air out some of your grievances on TV. That was the agreement that we had. I told him the things that I was going to say. And then I said a whole lot more than I told him I was going to say, to be completely blunt.
Okay. Was that the plan, or did you just get caught up in the moment?
It was my plan. It wasn't Tony Khan's plan.
Yeah.
Tony was like, look, if you want to let some stuff off your chest, it is what it is. And I was like, I'll be very tactful and I'll be very respectful. But in my head, I was like, motherfucker.
You're going scorched earth.
Oh, yeah. Because I was looking at the landscape, and to be blunt, the 2 biggest stars in professional wrestling right now are me and Roman Reigns. We are the 2 people that everybody's talking about, whether you're a professional wrestling fan or whether you're outside of that professional wrestling bubble. And my goal since day one when I entered All Elite Wrestling was I wanted professional wrestling to be a part of the cultural zeitgeist again. I wanted people to talk about guys like me, guys like Jon Moxley, guys like Bryan Danielson, Ricky Starks, Will Hobbs, the same way people used to talk about Stone Cold, The Rock, DX,
Mankind.
Chris Jericho, who is a part of AEW. And that was always my goal from the jump, and I was doing that for my boss, but my boss was not paying me the right amount of money. I always thought coffee was like gross, stains your teeth, right? Now that like I have this nutso schedule, I don't understand how a busy functioning adult gets through life without it.
Correct.
Which is why I look back at the past 26 years of my life without it, and I'm like, dude,
you're a beast.
Yeah, I don't know how I do know how I do it. I was just born better.
Right.
But it's so wildly impressive. Like, I think when we look back, like, at like the times of like all these incredible things that athletes in professional sports have done, there's no way that people aren't going to bring up that statistic.
Of you not drinking coffee?
You have to bring it up. You literally have to bring it up. So what's
the pre-coffee MJF? Yeah. I drink it all the time.
I think, again, Sean Durkin, who's this incredible writer and director who's doing this movie that he booked me for, so you know he's very intelligent because he booked me for the movie. I think if there's another movie he can make, it could most certainly be like my trials and tribulations of getting through life without caffeine.
Yes, I would watch that.
There's another pitch, A24.
Wait, was it no coffee or was it just
no caffeine, period.
Wow. Why not?
I've never even taken a pre-workout because I thought it was for weak people. I swear, this was a mindset that
So what made you weak?
What made me weak was the fact that I realized that my schedule had gotten so out of hand. Growing up in New York, basically everyone's an insult comic. Like, everyone is coming up with the best shit in the schoolyard, throwing the best shit at you, and you better come prepared and come correct, or you're going to get absolutely annihilated. Like, absolutely, like, you're verbally bent over, done, dead in the water. So it just breeds a lot of funny Jewish people, and I think that's why, you know, you'll find a lot of funny Jewish people from New York are like writers, directors, stuff like that. I'm 20 and one wrestler pulled my pants down and the other wrestler took a photo of my dick and threatened to like leak it out to like social media. That time was funny because I said go for it because I'm proud of it.
Right.
But if it was anybody else,
it would have been bad.
It would have been really bad.
Right. But for you, it would have been like,
and I know people think I'm kidding, but that's a real thing that happened to me.
Wow.
There's a lot of crazy shit that went down in the Northeast Indies because a young hot start who was afraid of nothing and no one and spoke the way that he wanted to speak. There was a lot of bullying. There was a lot of hazing. There was a lot of trying to get me to quit.
Yeah.
And I didn't. And now I am, and I can say this with a straight face because I own Google Trends, I'm literally one of the most famous professional wrestlers in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And all of these people that I'm referring to are either dead or irrelevant or canceled. So
shocking, right?
Right. So, yeah, I'm sure I made a lot of calls on what was going to occur in my career.
Yeah.
And at the time, I'm sure a lot of people went, "This is a funny guy, this MJF."
Right.
Turns out I was right.
Yeah.
About literally everything.
You come out at the end of the show. CM Punk is the world champion. You're one of only two guys in AEW that's ever beaten this guy. So there's a story that's already, I mean, you know, to me, the story's been being told. It's for that was an act 1.
100%.
What we saw before, right? Yep. And you're there, and he's got the title finally, and you're there to spoil the moment. And I mean, you couldn't have written it, but the fact that you stole his fans in that moment
in Chicago
is in Chicago is even more of this story. Maybe an injury happened, don't know. Hasn't been confirmed. He hasn't been on TV, title's vacated. All this drama that has nothing to do with what's going on the AEW television show happens.
I'll tell you what I've said in every other interview when I bring this up.
I've heard what you've said because I'm not going to ask I'm going to ask if you're disappointed that story isn't the one, because I see what you're saying, that your moment wasn't stolen because you showed up on Dynamite on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Not only did you get the reaction, but there was a rating. You can see the number.
Yeah.
And it's
the
story
numbers
tells
have gone
itself.
back up since MJF has showed back up for work.
Are you sad that the story that is being told through what you do in the ring is not that story that we started to see an inkling of at the pay-per-view?
Honestly, I hear the word story. I find it interesting. To me, this is just reality.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Right now, what I'm excited about is the fact that I have a chip that I can cash in at any time, and I can become the AEW World title champion. That's the only story I'm concerned with Because that's the story of my life right now.
Yeah.
Is that right now, Jon Moxley is the world champion. He might lose that world title before I cash my chip in. Maybe I want him to.
Right.
Maybe I don't. Who's to say? But to me, the most interesting thing going on in all of professional wrestling is the fact that a 26-year-old has the wrestling world by the balls. And I can literally cash a chip in and become champion of the world whenever I want. And I'm having fun right now. I am milking it for all it's worth. And when I wrestle, people freak out because it's a rarity. And every time, my favorite thing is people forget how good I am. And I think the fact that I'm so good at this is forever for the rest of my career most likely going to overshadow it. And I think it's not going to be until I retire when people watch my matches back with Chris Jericho, with CM Punk, with Jon Moxley already, which he had to cheat to win, with Darby Allin, which in my opinion is the greatest match in the history of our company, from a bell-to-bell standpoint as far as pure technical wrestling. From an emotional standpoint, I think the best match of all time in the history of our company is me versus CM Punk in that dog collar match. Gosh, I'm not even close to done. Did I mention my match with Jungle Boy? So, and again, that's just 5. That was only 5. There are more. But I have shown so many times, every time I go in there, people go, yeah, but can he wrestle? And it happens every time because so much time passes by before each match. And then I go out there and I showcase the fact that I'm one of, if not the best professional wrestler in the world. And then everyone goes, whoa!
MJF would hold the AEW World Championship for a record 406 days until the end of 2023, when he was defeated by Samoa Joe and betrayed by his bro Chacho for life, Adam Cole. MJF would return in 2024 at Double or Nothing, quickly end his feud with Adam Cole, and set his sights on Will Ospreay and the International Championship.
And the match that Will Ospreay and MJF would proceed to have would be the match of the night, but not the match of the year. Now, this was a pay-per-view quality match, and I found it highly entertaining. I thought it was one of the most entertaining matches that I've watched in some time. Well, probably since like the last Will Ospreay match. I mean, it's going to be no surprise to anybody that Will Ospreay puts on a great wrestling match. And the same can be said for MJF as well. Very few MJF matches fail to deliver, and I felt these guys did great here. I like the way that they didn't tell you this was going to be a 60-minute match. You know, Dynamite is so often booked in a way where there are surprise matches thrown in at the last minute that only announcing 3 matches to begin with wasn't really an indication that one of them was going to be 60 minutes long, but that's what we got. And it's cool the way that was kind of told as the match went on, with Max rolling out of the ring. I really like the spot where they go fight out in the crowd. Now, some of the negative reviews are down on this sort of stuff. Oh, they should have been counted out. Oh, they weren't selling enough. All kinds of bull crap has been thrown at this match, actually lowering the overall rating of it just from, you know, old heads who have watched wrestling for a long time and just can't handle any sort of evolution of the entertainment whatsoever. What's important here is this match is fucking entertaining, right? Having the Styles Clash hit on the apron, yeah, maybe MJF should have died from it. Would that have been as entertaining as what we got? Hell no. No, what we got was great. Why are we bitching about this? I like everything that Ospreay was doing here, from selling his shoulder, from selling his knee, and having the doctor put his shoulder back into place during one of the commercial breaks. I thought they really used the commercial breaks well here. I was happening to watch a version of this where it didn't go to picture-in-picture. I was watching like the direct feed, which I recommend, by the way. As of the shooting of this video, they are rolling out AEW programming on Max. I would assume for America within, the next couple of days. Like I said, they're doing it while I'm filming this thing, so I don't know what the plan is. But I hope that the plan includes putting the full broadcast on Max. And then if you've been one of the guys that have been watching it on, cable, and you've had to watch this picture-in-picture thing, go back and watch every single episode of Dynamite, because it is immensely better when you don't cut away for the commercial. And this match is a great example of that, with this whole spot with the doctor where they pop Ospreay's shoulder back in. And I thought they took advantage of these commercial breaks so well, and they paced out this match so well as well. Just ending in this big crescendo of moves. You got the pins back and forth, finishers going off. Oh God, I laugh so fucking hard when MJF is on the outside talking about what a big brain he has, and Ospreay comes flying through the second rope to hit him with the hidden blade in the back of the head, and the match could have ended there, but no, it keeps going. And all right, maybe the finish could have been a little better. A ref bump, a desperation move from MJF, hitting Will Ospreay with the Dynamite Diamond Ring and winning. But man, I forgot about all that shit. Like, I don't think about that in the moment, because what I saw in the moment was MJF and Will Ospreay timed this finish so goddamn perfectly. The ref is counting to 3 as the seconds are ticking down on the clock, and the suspense is awesome. I mean, it also would have been cool. I mean, who knows? Maybe the ending was a botch, and MJF wasn't supposed to win the belt, and they were going to do this thing at Wembley. I mean, I assume they're going to have a rematch at Wembley, and maybe Will come out on top there using the Tiger Driver. Because, yeah, that's the other problem people had with this, was Will Ospreay, doing his whole drama thing with the Tiger Driver. I'll say this. This one guy here who has a negative review gave the match a 0, which I think is disingenuous as fuck. But, maybe it's not a 10 out of 10, dude, but really a fucking 0? Anyways, he does point out that Will Ospreay's whole bit with the Tiger Driver is a little weird when Bryan Danielson, the guy that he gave the Tiger Driver to, is literally going to main event at Wembley after taking the Tiger Driver. So, he didn't paralyze anybody with it. He didn't send anybody. I don't even think they had Bryan Danielson be out of action for that long. It seems like you'd need to really cripple someone or have someone walking around in a neck brace for a good amount of time after being hit with this Tiger Driver that's so dangerous and career-ending. Well, then why didn't it end someone's career first before he goes into this whole bit? So I get that. That seems like a bit of a plot hole. Will is definitely, I think, overreacting. Don't hit the Tiger Driver on guys with long histories of neck injuries. I get you there. Please don't hit the Tiger Driver on fucking Bryan Danielson. But if you are interested in Bryan Danielson, I actually put out a video on him last week, and it fucking died. So go watch that now, and make sure you like and leave a comment on this video and subscribe and all that other great stuff. And also, keep digging.
He is I, and I am him, and I'm the undisputed trend Matt Taven. And this dork behind the camera, some Melvin told me to say, grave diggers keep on digging. Whatever that means.
I am AEW wrestler and Ring of Honor tag champ, Mike Bennett. And remember, grave diggers keep digging, but not the monster truck. Even though my son really likes that monster truck, I kind of like Son of a Digger, and so I'm going off on a tangent about monster trucks because my son really loves monster truck, but we're talking about the YouTube channel, so make sure, grave diggers, keep on digging, baby.
So this is Mark doing one half private party, saying what up to the grave diggers, and you doing your thing, bro.
Alright, like, subscribe, and watch another video, or be cursed. If you're cursed, that means the grave diggers will keep digging your graves, so you probably want to do it.